Hi, welcome to The Road Least Traveled. My name is Suli and I'm your host. In this podcast, I share with you what I've learned from my journey of self-awareness and spiritual awakening, and also some simple and practical tips to help you in your own journey. So stay with me. Let's work this thing out together. Do narcissistic parents love their children? You know what? It's time to stop wondering. I'm going to give you 8 reasons why you should stop wasting your time, effort, and emotional energy on this question. By the end of this episode, you're going to be wondering which beach you want to laze on instead of stressing out over this question. And by the way, remember to subscribe and please let me know what you think in the comment section. I'd really appreciate your feedback. Okay, so let's get on with it. If you have narcissistic parents, whether they're grandiose or vulnerable narcissists, now for the benefit of those who are new to this subject, I'll explain very briefly the differences. Grandiose narcissists are really easy to identify. They're very obvious in their entitlement, their self-absorbed and spoiled child behavior. Everything has to go their way, or they'll throw a huge tantrum or sulk until everyone gives in. That is the grandiose narcissist. Now, the vulnerable narcissist, however, is much harder to spot and by far the more dangerous one. Vulnerable narcissists display behaviors that are completely opposite of the grandiose narcissists. They appear vulnerable, humble, soft-spoken, and compassionate. But their motivations are the same as the grandiose narc. It's just that their tactics are completely different. Everything is under the radar, all very subtle. They also play the role of the poor me victim because they actually don't want solutions. They want to be lifelong victims so they can manipulate others. Now, this is an oversimplification of the grandiose and vulnerable narcissist, okay? I'm not going to give you all my 7 or 8 years worth of research because it's going to take a long time. This is all I'm going to say about narcissists. There's literally zettabytes of content on narcissism, so I'm not going to spend much time here on it. However, I must add that the term narcissism is so often misused. So please don't go calling someone a narcissist just because you don't like them. Okay, there's a long clinical checklist to diagnose someone as a narcissist. So us ordinary people have to do a lot of, extensive research and personal observations to even consider someone to be a narc. These are my personal observations. Now, the objective of these 8 reasons why I want you to stop wondering is to help speed up your process of accepting narcissistic abuse and to move forward. Narcissists are damaged people. They're not capable of love. So try to forgive them. Number 2, narcs cannot or will not change. So don't waste your time hoping. 3, society has put parents on the pedestal, especially mothers. And this is a huge burden on mothers to be perfect. So it's very tempting for those who don't love their children to put on a show for others to see. My opinion on this, and this is just my opinion, okay? Love is something you're capable of or you're not. It cannot be forced. Some mothers don't love their children. It's not like a sin or anything, they just don't. It doesn't make them wrong, even though it is wrong to abuse the children, but it's not wrong not to feel love for them. That's what I'm saying. The belief that all mothers love their children unconditionally is just a myth created by society, perpetuated by a capitalist world. So stop hoping and chasing for it. Stop resenting. That's the only way to move forward, my dears. 4, if anyone consistently makes you feel terrible about yourself, then something is wrong. Okay? It could be you. It could be them. I don't know, but talk to them at least. If they refuse to listen to your feelings, if they invalidate your reality, if they always have an answer to prove you wrong, even before you finish your sentence, then stop wondering. There you have it, loud and clear, that They don't care about how you feel. It means that they know they're treating you badly, but they just want you to allow them to continue abusing you without resistance. This is where it doesn't matter whether they're a narcissist, sociopath, psychopath, borderline, or whatever term is used. Okay, it doesn't matter. What matters is that they are emotionally abusive. That's not love. Now, bear in mind that abusive behavior can be categorized into two types. I'm not a therapist or a psychologist, so this is just my own language, okay? In my experience, it's quite important to identify these two types. One is a learned behavior where they were abused before and that was all they knew. So they just continued the cycle of abuse and they keep on abusing other people sometimes without even knowing it. If this is the case, then talking to them about it will make them see what they're doing and could bring about some change in them. But if their behavior comes from a personality type, do some research on personality types. If you think that their abusive behavior comes from a personality type, then that's a lot more difficult to deal with unless you're prepared to spend an entire lifetime trying to cure them, which to me is really not a good idea. I mean, you'd be wasting a lot of time that can be better spent on healing yourself, for example, doing things for yourself and making you the priority. Number 5, put up personal boundaries. They'll become outraged because they're used to stepping all over you, and suddenly you're disagreeing with them. How dare you? And this can make them lash out in a very cruel way. And if this is the first time you're putting up personal boundaries, you'll be shocked at their reaction. But at least you'll discover that all the years of so called harmony was because you gave in all the time. This is proof that love is a one-way street in this dynamic. So, number 6, narcissists are deeply, deeply insecure. See them not as parents, but as people who are painfully insecure. Insecure people are so impoverished that they're just not capable of unconditional love. The love that they mimic is usually to get something in return. And if they don't get what they want, they go into a rage. For the grandiose narc, it's like a full on scary physical rage. But for the vulnerable narc, it's a more cutting and in many ways more cruel, silent rage that manifests in many different ways. It could be the cold, silent treatment, even as you're crying or begging them to talk to you. Their coldness and the way they treat you like you don't exist, even at your most vulnerable, can kill your spirit. Please don't let it get to that point. Well, there are many other manifestations, but I just want you to know the difference because not all narcs will burst out into a physical rage. The vulnerable narc knows how to hurt you, and they use the least amount of effort to do it. Number 7, stop asking for friends' opinions. Most will deny your reality. They'll say, of course they love you. They just show it differently. No, this is because they don't understand narcissistic abuse. Or maybe they're in a similar situation where they refuse to wake up from it. So they don't want you to rock the boat and they will pull you into their denial. Abuse from the vulnerable narcissist is unlike any other form of abuse. Even clinicians sometimes don't understand, and many will further damage their clients with secondary abuse by invalidating their experiences and further making them feel crazy and petty. The vulnerable narcissist knows this. This is their modus operandi. Number 8, narcissists are extremely charming and deceptive. This means they have an entourage of supporters, or at least a small group of people who will always fuss around them and help them. This is a good enough reason to stop focusing on them and instead look after yourself. So, do you really need to know for sure if they love you or not? The word love often gets us stuck and obsessing over it. Let's not question the word love and what it actually means. Let's just go by how they treat you. If they treat you badly, that's enough to decide to move out of this dynamic. It doesn't matter why they don't love you. There could be so many reasons. And you'll drive yourself crazy. You'll waste your whole life wondering. So please don't do that. If they were abused before, you don't have to bear the consequences. It's not your responsibility. It never was. Just take comfort in knowing that you bore all their burdens before, and now you need to stop. There's absolutely no reason to feel guilty. And don't judge them, because there can be so many reasons that we're not aware of. So the sooner you stop wondering, hoping, and trying, the sooner you can build a meaningful life for yourself. Put all your mental and emotional energy there. And please remember that nobody owes it to us to love us, okay? Not even our parents. Knowing this will set you free. I promise you. And please don't take any sympathy from others. There's nothing to feel sorry about. It's not sad that some parents don't love their children. The real tragedy is the hope that gets us stuck and that stops us from deciding to love ourselves. Self-love is not selfish, and it's not overrated, as some people say. It's the only way the world can heal itself. It's when we make it our life mission to love ourselves that we stop interfering with other people's business, other people's freedoms, beliefs, and whatever problems we have in this world now. It's all linked, don't you see? It all begins and ends with us, with you, with me, with every individual. I don't know why it's such a taboo to talk about this subject. I mean, it's okay for someone not to love another person, and that includes parents and their children. That includes family. It's not your fault. It's not their fault. It's nobody's fault. If only people were brave and open enough to say, listen, I don't love you, but I'll give you money and I won't abuse you. How about that? I think that's a really fucking great deal. You know, that is the truth. And the truth really, really does set us free. The truth sets everyone free. And life would be so much less complicated if we just stopped this ridiculous masquerade and just be honest. Okay, this is all I've got for you today. Hope to see you next week. You take care and bye for now. Thank you for listening. If you found this of value, please follow and share it.